Okay, so I'm Ron, and then my son Ron here. We're just gonna talk about things. That's why it's called Truth in Conversation, because to preface it from me, um, it's really just the truth as I've come to know it. For me, it's just my words coming from the heart as we talk. About life, about whatever. So just bear in mind, from me to whoever, that's all this is, with no agenda attached. I'm not a professional anything. I'm not an actor. I'm not any of that. Um, yeah, it's just the truth and my distillation of knowledge I've come to and combined with my experience. So to put it a little bit like that, like a little bit more fancy, really it's really me, the study I've done. It's my base of grammar, my nice balanced logic I've come to, my rhetoric. So the trivium part, and then to go further, uh, in the mind, my truth. Now that this truth that's coming from the heart, not the mind, it's coming from that place with that basis of grammar that I've gotten, the logic I've used to put it together, the rhetoric I'm using to convey my words is really what it is. And the other part of that, really, this is as mathematically, geometrically, musically, and astronomically true as I can be. So you'll recognize that as the quadrivium. So for those 7 aspects of learning, in that way, this is in logos, in truth, standing in that one little spot within myself, within my heart, in truth, as I look out, the truth that I've come to. So I'm not saying I have any kind of monopoly on truth or anything like that. I'm saying it's what I've come to, and that's all I want to share, and how I do share now all the time. So that's all this is from me to whoever might see this. I wanted to preface that just once and just get it out in the open, so there's no agenda coming from me. I'm just sharing, dude. We just talking.
Yeah, same thing for me too. Like I'm gonna put the same things out. Same thing for me. No, there's no agenda attached to anything I'm saying. It's just how I feel and what I've learned from my experience all the way up until now.
Make it a little louder too.
Yeah.
Voice wise. So to start, we were trying to think of topics, like what we talk about, how we make this natural, because it's got to be a natural conversation.
Yeah.
For it to really work right, I think. Like for people to view 2 living, breathing human beings, 2 men standing here just talking, be able to talk about whatever and not get worked up or triggered or angry, and be able to come to some resolution on things. So we try to think of a bunch of topics, but that makes it a bit unnatural. So I'm going to just start by talking about something that's pretty important, and especially with things going on out there nowadays, but seem pretty crazy, and a lot of people are getting to the point where they feel fed up, like they can't do anything, and they think about suicide. So that's why I want to start. I just want to share my own story, a story I have from me about suicide, and one of my experiences. Now I'll be able to talk about this and share it because I felt so deeply back into it and cried so much about it. And even recently, within months ago, was crying about this as really felt deeply into my past. So now I can actually talk about it and express it, so don't think it's coming from a place of uncaring or unfeeling, because it's just the opposite. But so real quick background of what it was. I was deployed to Iraq the first time in 2005, and up until that point, I was not in a dark place inside myself. I was it wasn't like it became. So anyway, first deployment there. Things had already happened, combat type stuff. People had died, people had been hurt. I had been around it and involved in different things. So I was already, it was hard, it's hard because it's totally unnatural to be in that kind of environment. So, it's 2005. I'd come home on, my wife and I were having problems, marital problems, of course. Not of course, that's not fair. But for us, it felt like, of course, because it was just hard. The married life, the family life in the military was hard.
Yeah.
It was really tough. But constantly being gone and this and that, I won't get into all that, but, where was I?
You came back 2005. You came back on leave. I think is what you were gonna bring up.
Right. Yeah. I came home for 2 weeks. After about halfway through or more there, whatever it was. No, it was pretty early, I think. But anyway, my wife already noticed a difference. I think you did too. Like in me, it was already messing me up. And my wife tells me now, like I don't remember now, but she tells me we went for walks during that leave, and I was talking to her and crying about different things, like things that happened over there. And I couldn't figure it out, I guess, but I was upset and crying. Well, after that, when she saw what a mess I was during that time, she decided she was gonna leave because things were already rough anyway, rocky, so to speak. But always that love there, but it was rocky and hard, you know. So, yeah, so she decided she was gonna leave, rightfully so, because I was crazy. Yeah, I kind of gone crazy. So, but when I got that news over there in Iraq, it was like they were all I had to hold on to. So it really put me in a place of not caring at all and horrible. I was like, and I'd already reached that point because of the experiences over there. The caring was gone, type of thing already. So I was already pretty dark. But when I got that news that she was taking off, and I felt like, you know what, I got nothing then. So I took my pistol, my 9mm, I went up to the roof of the building we were staying in that little, on the file. It was on Camp Rustamiyah in Baghdad. So I went up to the roof of the building and I decided that was going to be it. And I pulled the hammer back. I remember sitting there, I was thinking about them on the roof. I was looking at the moon and the stars and then staring at the moon and crying, and I was a mess. And I put it to my temple, fully intending to pull the trigger and try. I remember my muscles tensing, trying to pull the trigger, but my finger just wouldn't put enough pressure on it. But I could feel the trigger move, but I couldn't quite pull it. And I ended up deciding not to and went downstairs, and one of my buddies had been looking for me by then, wondering, because he already knew he had heard, like, you know, there was news, and then he got worried because I had kind of disappeared, and he was worried about me, rightfully so. But anyway, got past all that, and everything ended up fine. But my point is, it's going to take me a while to get there on a topic like this. But, give me 1 second. Where do I go from here? Well, what it kind of was, what it kind of turned into, what I kind of come to realize is by me doing that, if I would have taken that last step and actually done it, I would have had no chance to be standing here right now with my son, with my wife, who I still love, who still loves me. We all love each other. I would have ended that, and I came real close to ending that because I felt like nothing would ever get better. And in the situation I was in, might be pretty understandable because totally unnatural environment. People are getting hurt all the time and dying for no reason. No good reason. And yeah, but But that's my point, is that things aren't like that naturally, and things aren't that bad naturally, and should never be that bad in the first place. But even if they get that bad, it's no reason to end it. Here's why. Here's something. I used to think that, you know what, it's a person's own life. If they want to end their life, they should be able to end their life. What's the big deal? Here's what I think the big deal is now. And this is, like I said, this is within the last 2 years, so it's still recent for me. And even talking and trying to talk like this is still new to me.
Me too, yeah.
To us, yeah. And though we talk naturally now together, like in conversation eye to eye like this, but doing it like this, where it goes out somewhere, is different. So, but let me get to why I think it wasn't my place. Because me being born into this world, it was given to me. It was a gift. Even if things are really dark and the life seems really, really dark, it's still a gift to have it. Not just the physical part of this life, but the spiritual part is what I realized is a gift that's granted from not even just the parents, the physical parents, but the consciousness that we have inside us is a gift.
From something greater.
Yes. Yes, something greater.
Greater than us.
Yes. And not of a physical flesh and blood man or woman or being. It's something greater. So I see now, if I were to take that step, that's me saying I know better and I can do better and this and that. It takes me down that whole mental path of going against the Creator, or however you want to label it. So were someone to be thinking or considering about ending their own life, please reconsider. Please do not. Because especially in these times right now where it looks so dark, I'm convinced that it's only because light is coming to all the darkness. And the light is coming from in us. To expose the darkness, to put an end to the darkness, to put an end to the unnatural ways of doing things and unnatural ways of life that have been set up around us and for us before we even got here. It cannot last. It cannot last as it stands. It is too unnatural. So just for me, the whole natural versus unnatural thing makes it very, very clear to me that things are getting better, will get better, but it's going to take people getting back to their, not people, I hate that word people because it has all those legal connotations. And a person is a corporation and this and that and everything's a corporation. No, we're not. I'm not. I am not a corporation. I'm not a legal fiction that was created. I'm a living, breathing, flesh and blood, spiritual man that's walking the earth like everyone else. Everyone else that you can reach out and touch, which you should not do unless invited. Because these are our bodies, our minds, our thoughts, our hearts, our spirits. We each have our own. And we can all get along just fine, we can just talk about things. So the suicide enough that, but I wanted to share something personal because I'm only trying to be honest and truthful just from my own experience. Only to try and help is what we're both actually trying to do by doing this and making our best. I'm making my best attempt at. I'm going to speak for myself. Let me get off doing that stuff. If you want to say, go ahead. Yeah. I don't know where we're going from here.
Yeah, I don't know where we're going. I had a thought right when you were saying, when we were both saying that this consciousness has been given to us by something greater, because it has been. That right there is the proof that there is a God or creator. Yeah.
It is to me too, yeah. It is. It was the finding it part that was so hard.
Yeah.
For me. I couldn't, because I didn't know this existed, this peace and unity inside. I didn't know it existed. So, yeah. Now we're starting to do the staring off thing. And
Yeah.
like, yeah, what are we going to talk about now then?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it could be about God or
why?
Or
whatever. Like, yeah, because that's a tough one.
yeah, it is.
That's it. I wouldn't jump around on that one too much, because people got, like, everyone should have their very, very, very own opinion and personal, I think, knowing of what you want to call God. I really do. And realizing, though, that there is an absolute truth. There is an absolute right and wrong. That's the thing. That's the natural law thing. The natural law. Cosmic law, karmic law, that's the thing with that. Is that if we're all standing in that spot where we're living from the heart and not trapped in our minds and letting the mind lead the way, then we would know that it's wrong to cause harm. Unless you're protecting yourself, and that's just plain the law of nature. Which is all we need. We don't need all these other laws and rules. Why? If everybody is grown enough to know that we should all keep our hands to ourselves, type of thing, right? We're supposedly taught that early, along with all the ridiculous other crap we're taught incorrectly. Because that's not, see, we're not even having a conversation. I'm starting to talk to that thing, but to the camera. I ain't talking about any people. I don't mean to point at you and say that thing, because I just thought about how that might look. I apologize. Yeah, but yeah, it's just ridiculous. And like, it's hard to know. Like, I don't know where to go from here, because it could be anything. Could talk about anything.
Yeah.
You talk about something. Go ahead. You got something?
I don't know what I have. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. You can talk about fucking talk about money. You can talk about the ego. That's a big thing.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the thing. Is I don't know where I would start.
It doesn't have to be something so big either. We were talking about all kinds of stuff earlier.
Yeah, it was just coming out. That was like flowing in.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
We can get back into that. I was talking about stuff.
Okay.
Where you at?
Shit, I'm thinking about the ego and what I'm gonna say. That's where I'm at. That's where I should be at.
Okay. But yet, for me, I lived such a long time in my own head. And looking back, since I was a kid, really.